a second. Anyway, this is Gio. Thanks for tuning in to some more of our Skyrim walkthrough here. Go ahead and get right into it. It's actually going to be an add-on to that recording session that we had earlier on the previous episodes. Sort of. So I did render out the footage to make more room, but we're just going to go ahead and tack this onto it anyway. Alright, so I've got about probably an hour and a half's worth of space to record to. I'm just getting back into the Skyrim walkthrough because I need a little break from the Moria and Assassin's Creed. Hoping the audio would come back on. There we go. Oh, there's actually a Azure shrine over there. Huh, I didn't know you could see it from down here. Albeit it's very far away and shrouded over, but I can see it all the same.
I think the college is due for a change in leadership.
Really? And you are...
Enchanting services are one of the few things that keep us in touch with the rest of Skyrim.
Suggesting that you yourself should be at that point? My experience, people who suggest themselves for positions of power usually are the ones that are not qualified to have it.
I'm not sure what happened. A monk from the Sijic Order. Here after all these years, and then he just leaves. I hope we didn't offend him somehow. What you learn here will last you a lifetime. Several, if you're talented.
I thought we already had...
Has Tolfdir been telling stories again? I thought I made it quite clear that this was a subject inappropriate for conversation. Please, don't allow him to continue to discuss the subject. Beyond asking for you, he never said. Very strange indeed. Really? And what might that be? I'm sorry, what? Well, I'd certainly love to have such a powerful staff, but I'm not really sure that any of us need it. And how do you know of this? Did you really? And he specifically mentioned the staff of Magnus? I'm impressed with your initiative. Of course, someone will need to follow up on this. A most impressive attitude. Keep this up, and you'll do quite well for yourself. Something as specific and ancient as the Staff of Magnus. I'm not sure we'd ever find something like that. I seem to recall Mirabelle mentioning the staff somewhat recently. Why don't you see if she can tell you anything? I'm quite pleased with your progress, you know. You've certainly proven yourself to be more than a mere apprentice. Well done. This circlet once proved invaluable to me. I hope it can be of use to you now.
Well, now that I'm no longer just a mere apprentice, let's head over to the Arcanium. I'm not sure where those rings will be located at. I mean, I've looked in here, and obviously you're not going to be able to get Urag to hand them over.
There are few places where one can pursue my type of work without fear of persecution. If you require assistance with summoning techniques, please, let me know. If you would, please also contain your summons to the college grounds. The locals do not need to be agitated further by Atronachs roaming their town. The summoning of undead is even less advisable outside the college.
Oh, why though? Don't the townspeople want to have their land infested with skeletons and zombies and all other kinds of undead creatures? Let's see...
Not within society, no. Many who practice within the School of Conjuration do so on their own, secretly. Thalion is the only one I know who is public about what he does. He was once my teacher here. but left the college years ago. He didn't like the Archmage, hated dealing with him, hated having to answer to him. Thalion said he hated what this place was becoming, so he just left. Orin found a note on his desk, and that was it. I understand he settled down in Hjalmarch, and his presence there caused something of a problem. Now, if you'll excuse me.
Well, I have no gold, so I goes up to the Skyrim, the precipice out there. So, where would these rings be located at?
Greetings. Confound it all! This page too! That makes 5 in total. This is unacceptable! A page from one of these texts, and 4 others. Torn right from the spine. I've consulted with Urog's apprentice girl, and she insisted, rather emphatically, that none of these tomes have been checked out for years. I told the girl that wouldn't preclude a thief from browsing the cases, however. I don't blame her, though. It's the head librarian's duty to keep more sensitive texts behind sealed doors. Or perhaps it's the fault of the one who trained him, not to be more perceptive of sensitive texts. In either case, the result is the same. It is as I feared. Someone has managed to steal key pages from the writings of Trectus. Indeed, although I doubt that name lacks reverence here. This is an institution of higher learning, I hope. It certainly has the pretension of one. It is not an error. It's far more likely that Urog holds an opposing position regarding the substance of these texts. Not to mention a stubborn refusal to recognize that a controversial theory might actually have merit. The majority of scholars are split between 2 disparate camps. Some believe the texts are worthless scribbles written by a child, one who had yet to grasp the vastness of his destiny. Others contend that the author is not Vanus himself, but a pretender hoping to profit from the mage's name. Both camps, however, are in agreement that the texts themselves have no intellectual merit. They are either an amusing reference for biographers and historians, or an elaborate hoax that vexes the very same. There are some, however, who attribute the text to a different origin. Not the young Trectus, but the elder Vanus Galarian. The theory states that Vanus wrote the text in the guise of his younger self, precisely so that scholars would question its authenticity. By diverting the eyes of those who seek power, it provided an extra layer of security, in addition to the cryptic nature of the text itself.
It's actually a pretty interesting idea.
Each book is a cleverly crafted tale that hints towards the ideals of a particular school of magic. However, the overall narrative is unimportant. From what I have gathered in my time here, it seems the school of magic is simply a mechanism. For instance, I found lighting a text with an alteration spell revealed a hidden message written in an ink altered to mimic a human soul. Of course, without the knowledge to light the aura of life aglow, the mage's search would end there. The chain continues until one reaches the destination, the final pages that contain detailed notes on the crafting of a new spell. I'm afraid not. The texts are evidence, and the methods Galarian used to encode the journals must undergo further study. Once I have informed Urog of his omission, he will add the works to this library's collection, along with the missing pages, should they be retrieved. If you have scholarly interest, however, I can share with you the 5 tales of Galarian's youth. They are quite interesting.
Well, this is going to be a long dialogue, I can already tell. Holy crap. So, let's see.
As a young child, Galarian's father bought books from smugglers in order to teach his son how to read. As serfs of a minor nobleman, Lord Janess of Solikic-on-Kur, such knowledge was strictly forbidden. Galarian recounted how his father taught him to avert his eyes at every signpost, and to speak with improper diction. Most of all, he warned him not to reference the tales he read, but more importantly, the cities, beasts, and forests contained therein. For the spell would be broken the instant their lord realized the boy knew things his eyes could not see. Galarian's mother was an old-fashioned woman, one comfortable with her station. She never wanted to deprive Galarian of knowledge. She was, however, fearful of the consequences. A seed of dread was planted in her mind, and grew into a forest of despair. It was only a matter of time before her husband or her child would slip and betray their literacy. In truth, Lord Janess suspected nothing, but in her reality, she saw her husband on the gallows, and through her actions, she made it true. Vanessa's father died from the crime of literacy. He was hung, his body left out for weeks as the sweltering heat bubbled the skin of his fetid corpse. The effigy itself was gruesome, but so was the cruelty of Lord Janess. He forced Galarian to scrub the gallows every day, as his father hung lifelessly above him. He held the lessons of his father close to his heart, and never spoke an indignant word, no matter how callously the nobleman prodded him. However, if one stayed awake past the dead of night, one could hear the violence echoing from the basement of the servants' quarters. As a child, Vanis Galarian escaped his birth home of Solikic-on-Kur. He simply crept out of his quarters one night and ran. He never stopped running. He had trekked halfway across the Somerset Isle when he reached the shores of Alinor. There was nowhere left to run. Exhausted, he collapsed in a ditch. It is there that a band of troubadours found his body and nursed him back to health. They employed him as an errand boy and gave him food and shelter, and the life he had seemingly lost was somehow returned to him. Vanis Galarian once ran with a group of troubadours. They performed from city to city, regaling crowds with their song and flair. One of them was a former jester, a man with deft hands. From out of the ether he would withdraw a bouquet of flowers or a septum from your ear. However, it was the group as a whole who cast a spell on the young boy, drawing a smile that had been lost to the void.
So this was about alteration, restoration. This one was probably destruction. Were the other two? That would be conjuration and crap. Actually, it's going to be conjuration. Perhaps this one, conjuring up, dreams that became reality in the first one. Would be the last school, whichever one that was. I can't remember now.
As you will. I mentioned the pages from 5 separate texts were stolen. This is no coincidence. I'm sure you can divine why. Exactly. According to the theory, there was purpose to Galarian's decision to divide his childhood journals into 5 parts. Contained within each was a tale that alluded to spells and techniques, authored by a specific school. It is well known that Galarian's gifts for magic were quite diverse. He could restore a rose to full bloom not longer after burning it aflame, all while fooling the mind into believing its scent had rotted away. It is thought that his nemesis Manimarco was his singular obsession, yet he did allow for others when the trail for his rival grew cold. Or perhaps It was his very obsession for the King of Worms that led to his research of new magics. The theory goes that Galarian was on the verge of completing 5 new spells, one for each school. Spells of such tremendous power that even the immortal armies of Manimarco would countenance their fear. Unfortunately, Galarian's obsession with his nemesis deprived him of his patience. Nevertheless, before he embarked on the great battle, he left notes encoded in 5 works, so others could continue his research. I have an inkling. There are rumors that the Synod is here in Skyrim, although I cannot confirm it is the text of Galarion they seek. Regardless, only a practiced mage is permitted entrance into the college, albeit one wonders, given the pathetic wards placed at the entrance, if even a novice or a sufficiently determined troll could shatter it. However, the culprit would have to be one familiar with Galarion's experimental research, and he would come here himself. He would not trust a proxy. In fact, I was able to glean some clues based on my interviews of the residents of Winterhold, who seem far more observant of mages than the faculty. I sent my assistant, Jado Ra, to investigate the matter further, but I fear something grave has befallen him. He has not returned in over a week. I am in need of someone capable to locate him, and any possible information he may have retrieved regarding the missing pages. Finally, someone with initiative. I need someone to scout the area he was investigating, and search for clues of his whereabouts. Your safety is paramount. If the mage in question is at the site, do not attempt to confront him, even if Jado Ra is in imminent danger. The Khajiit is a crafty one. He will leave clues behind even in death, yet if you sacrifice both your lives, both your efforts will be squandered. Good. Jado Ra last left for Solitude, but it is unlikely he is still there. I would start with the caverns near the shoreline. Mages use these caves to conduct research away from prying eyes. If you find him, and find him well, he may ask for a passphrase. In most cases, I abhor the need for such conventions, but circumstances required a measure of precaution. The problem is, I seem to have forgotten that inscrutable Khajiit word he gave me. So in exchange, I ask you to tell him this. Tell him how, when I met him, I mocked his whiskers, how they were as black as an Imperial's hair. Tell him that his eyes are so narrow that even when he laughs he looks unhappy, yet their color still shines as bright as the sun. And if he finds that too sentimental, tell him he was more valuable as a rug, and when he accidentally lights his fur on fire, he would no longer be worth anything to anyone.
Oh man, that's interesting. I don't remember. I've never undertaken this quest before. I didn't even know there was one there to be had. So where would these rings be at, though? They wouldn't just be sitting out and around. They'd be, you know, hidden somewhere, obviously. Like a cabinet or a, you know, room or a box or a chest or something.
I don't want to see you treating any of these books poorly. Are we clear? Hundreds of years have gone into assembling this collection. It's going to stay pristine, understand? There are more books to be recovered and secured in the Arcanium. All right, I wrote down the last place I'd heard about. Don't get killed.
That's very encouraging.
We were able to figure out the last text you brought in. I thought the least I could do is pass the knowledge along.
Conjuration.
Fight well.
So where would they be in here, though, those rings? It's a very good question. I suppose, like I said, they could be... What is that? Hairbanes, Beastery, Hagravens. Like, they're probably in like a chest or a lockbox somewhere. I wonder what these books are. Some look like spell tomes. Others, I don't know what the other one is. And stop saying, "Oh, Lydia."
You need a book? You talk to me. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself in a lot of pain.
Why? Because you're gonna kick my ass, or because the enchantments around here are gonna burn me alive or something? Fall from Glory. Holds of Skyrim troll slaying. Interesting, there'd be a book on internet troll slaying. All these books just sitting around here. City of Stones, probably talking about Markarth. Windhelm Letters. All sorts of weird books sitting around here. Book of the Dragonborn. Yeah, I don't see any obvious place where those rings would be at. Said they were taken to the Arcanium, though. Weird. Obviously, Urag doesn't know anything about it, or we can't ask him about it just yet. Maybe a time later on, maybe when the current set of missions are finished, that we'll be able to figure out what that's about. Like, there's just all these little tiny like mini quests just buried throughout this game that make it, really impossible to finish the game without some sort of, guide you're looking from, or being insanely meticulous. So we got a couple more missions, quests to undertake. Oh, we gotta go find Mirabelle. That's right. What the hell? Crazy, I didn't even know she had a hood. That wooden cold mod's awesome. Gives a more realistic kind of feel of the game. People aren't going to be walking around, without any kind of thing on. Here we go.
I still need some help, if you can spare the time.
After you cursed me or something?
Exactly as I said it would.
This time.
Now, are you ready to try again? I am confident it will work this time.
Damn it all, fine.
Good, good. It'll be worth it, I assure you. Okay, now don't move at all.
What the hell?
Oh my. That isn't right. Just
I got turned into a yak.
I can fix this.
What the hell?
Oh no, that's not
Now
good.
what? A horse?
Let me try again. Really isn't turning out the way I'd hoped.
A dog?
I'll get it right this time. I swear. There. All better. Well,
What the hell were you
it all
trying to
worked
do?
out in the end, didn't it? Agreed. And thank you for your help. You're a good friend. Alright then.
That's another thing. You can have more than one companion following you. I didn't realize that. You're actually up to 6, and you can change that with Rybash as well.
Good to see Skyrim still has such fine people. You give an old man hope.
Wait, what was that other spell? School of Magic. Alteration, illusion. That was it. The first one must have been illusion. Well, I guess the first story could be illusion. Yeah, so that would be because they're talking about how his older self disguised his writings as his younger self or something to deceive people. So yeah, I guess that could be illusion, and then destruction, restoration, conjuration. Yeah. Clairvoyance. Dismay. Oh, that's shout or something. Foss. We shall fear the Thu'Mic and flee in terror. Elemental fury. Lightning bolt. The Strunba. I forgot what the last word is for it. It's the shout that causes, you know, lightning to come down out of the sky. That is a crazy shout. On the other hand, it also hits your companion, so if you have any with you, you shouldn't use it. I did that once, and Jordas kicked my ass because of it. It was not a very fun experience. Wait, no, Bearbell. Where the hell is that? Broad. No, I still need to use one of his scrolls, that's right. We only used one. Used them twice against the undead. Need to get one more undead person.
Please don't bother the Archmage unless it's absolutely necessary.
Looks like they brought something back from Sarthal. A giant egg filled with dwarves. Or taffy. I can't decide which.
What? Giant egg filled?
If there are any problems, let me know. Day-to-day operations are my responsibility, which means if you become a problem, you get sent to me.
Oh, really?
Well, now that's an odd question. Why in the world would you be asking? The Eye of Magnus? I can appreciate that this thing, this orb, it's very impressive, very unique, and definitely worth studying. But let's not jump to any conclusions or assign it importance beyond what we're certain of. The Augur. Just what have you gotten yourself involved in? Whatever is going on, whatever you're up to, be very careful. Well, it's said to be very powerful. Has the capacity to store an incredible amount of magical power, as the story goes. But it's more myth than anything at this point. I've no doubt that it actually exists, but no one has seen it in, what, decades? Longer? I'm not sure. The only time I've heard it mentioned was when those Synod characters showed up some months ago looking for it. Mages based out of Cyrodiil. They fancy themselves the imperial authority on magic these last few hundred years. My understanding is that all they really do is make noise in an attempt to curry favor from the Emperor. Lots of politics, little magic. I was quite surprised to find them on our doorstep. They seemed amiable enough, but their line of questioning made me uneasy. It became clear they're trying to hoard powerful artifacts, looking to consolidate power. No one here does. The Synod seemed convinced it was somewhere in Skyrim. They inquired about the ruins of Mzulft, but that's all I remember. It sounded like they were heading there, though they were rather secretive about why. I suppose if you're intent on looking for the staff, there's a chance they might be in Mzulft yet. Just don't expect them to be cooperative. I'm not really sure. Made and used by Magnus himself, if you believe those sorts of things. I believe I've heard it said that it's the only thing that could adequately contain his power. The sort of embellishment wizards of ancient times loved to make.
So. Well, now, let's see. Now they've gotten that resolved, huh? Oh, really, a dwarven place, huh? Stony Cave Creek, Staff of... Look at that, all three right there. That's insane. That's actually in a Dragonhold. Anselwund. Anselwund. Got a Germany sound to it there. We go back to Volthoom. Try that out. I don't think we're quite ready yet. We need some better gear, maybe. It's that last dragon priest.